Want to know how to memorize a song fast? Well, I remember the first time I had to memorize a song and sing it in front of an audience, and committing it to memory took way too long. Later, when called to go out on tour, I couldn't afford the time. I had to learn lots of songs, and I had to learn them fast. So as you picture little Anthony from magneticmemory-method.com doing show and tell in grade 2, and adult me racing to place complex, progressive songs in my memory, imagine your own nerve-wracking experiences with trying to remember songs, and then stop. Because there's good news. You can make the process of memorizing any song a lot easier if you use the strategies I'll be sharing in this video. I'll help you memorize song lyrics thoroughly. So if you're ready to flex your memorization muscles, let's get started. If you really want to be able to memorize song lyrics, we can't get into the nitty-gritty until we accept two basic facts. One, there's more than one way to tackle the task. And two, I teach the use of mnemonics, and that means if you want to be fast, you're going to have to learn the fundamentals. I'm not going to apologize for this either. There's a lot of sloppiness out there, and when it comes to music and memory, we have to put our foot down. You get fast by taking time with the fundamentals. Few, if any, achieve any mastery if they try to skip this step. And so long before you apply memory techniques to the task of memorizing songs, I suggest you identify your why. Namely, write down in your memory journal, why do I want to memorize this song? Likewise, why do I want to use memory techniques to help me do it? No joke, I want you to write the answer down. This simple micro step will make your goals more substantial and real to your brain. Knowing your why will help you craft your path forward. Let's look at some examples. Maybe you would like to perform professionally with a band or music group. You might want to join the choir at church. Perhaps you'd like to compete in a talent show. Or it might be for the simple enjoyment of singing or playing along with your favorite band or musician. Whatever your goal might be, write it down. Beyond those examples, there are a number of benefits to memorizing songs and lyrics. Not only does it improve your verbal memory, making it easier to remember what people say, it also makes you happier. Think about it. When a song comes on that you like, your emotion changes with it. Imagine being able to call up that song at will. Memorizing songs also helps create focus and concentration. As you've probably experienced, music helps us bond with others. My wife and I sing together quite a bit, usually in different languages, which helps promote the benefits of bilingualism for lifelong brain and memory health. I also think our singing is a huge part of why we're so happy as a couple. One of our favorite songs to sing together is The Moon Represents My Heart, which I sang to her and her entire family at our wedding party in Beijing. I memorized it quickly using the tools I'll teach you today, and then took every opportunity to practice the lyrics. I even shot a video of myself singing it while washing the dishes. 已经打动我的心，深深的一问题，叫我思念到如今。 We sing every day together, and I myself sing ancient Sanskrit songs daily as part of my meditation practice. And if you can't find a why that's strong enough, let me suggest the following. Memorizing songs improves your overall health. You get an oxytocin boost when you sing, and the combined physical and mental activity leads to a more enjoyable mind. And what's more, you improve your immune system by singing. Forget the apple. A song a day keeps the doctor away. Singing also improves your breathing and posture, and believe it or not, provides pain relief. All right, I think we've done much to establish the fact that memorizing music is good for you. But before we get down to how to memorize your favorite songs, if you're new here, get subscribed and enable notifications so you don't miss future memory training videos. And for the love of memory, hit that thumbs up to let the robots know that humans care about educational content based on the fundamentals of true mastery, not the dopamine spiking whims of those who want a mindless world. And if you can't say thanks with a thumbs up for me, do it for our channel members who are helping support the Magnetic Memory Method mission to encourage and support learners who want to use memory techniques around the world. I'm grateful for every iota of support that helps myself and Team Magnetic continue singing at the top of our lungs about the greatest tradition humanity has ever known, the optimization of human memory. Now, when I set out to memorize a song I'm going to sing, I like to start with lyrical analysis. This activity is powerful because it helps build a theoretical framework in the mind and memory. You can think of this as the field into which the seeds of words and phrases are going to fall. The richer the soil and the more you have, the easier it is for those seeds to take root. There are at least 5 different ways to analyze the song lyrics you're trying to memorize. First, poetic analysis. This involves looking at the words themselves and asking the following questions. How do they work? Is there assonance? Is there consonance? Is there logopoeia? What's the logic of this material? You don't have to have a full understanding of the lyrics in order to memorize them, but it's helpful to understand at least the basics. But watch out. Don't sit there and wait until you have understood the lyrics before you start to memorize. One of the things you'll discover through the process of memorizing music is that understanding often happens only after you memorize. In academia, we sometimes call this the accretion of value. It means that the sediments of meaning build up, kind of like how soil builds up pressure over time and becomes stone. The more you work with little bits of sand and stone, in this case lyrics and music, the more settle and get baked in. The more and more meaning builds up over time. There's always more understanding yet to come, and that's a beautiful thing. The second is emotional analysis. This one's easy. Just ask yourself, is it a happy song? Is it a sad song? Are there multiple emotions? What emotions is the artist trying to get across to the audience? Do your best to interpret what's going on with the song. Next up, we have character analysis. Do the song lyrics suggest character progression? Since this point might be a little hard to understand at first glance, let's look at an example. Lou Reed's song My House has a line at the end of the first stanza that reads, "My house is very beautiful at night." But by the end of the song, he changes the line to "Our house is very beautiful at night." The character in the song begins it alone, but he shows growth as a result of the process he sings about. When you identify details like this in a song, it can help you sing it better once memorized. The fourth part of lyrical analysis is historical analysis. Understanding the history behind the song lyrics can also be quite helpful. Do the following research. Read the Wikipedia page about the song. Read or listen to interviews with its author. Read interpretations by other people about what the song means. By digging deeper into the origin story of the song and the history of the songwriter, you can uncover revelations you might otherwise miss. And last but not least, we have melody analysis. Understanding all parts of the melodic structure is also helpful on your memorization journey. Pay attention to the melody, harmony, rhythm, chords, and flourishes. If you want to dive deeper into melodic analysis, check out Rick Beato's Everything Music YouTube channel. All 5 of these types of analysis will help not only your memorization, but also your delivery and enjoyment. And when it comes to memorizing lyrics, here are the 2 most common approaches. First, there's rote repetition, and then there's mnemonics. Both are really their own worlds, so to speak, but there are also some similarities to the approaches. Before you start with one of these techniques, a word of advice. A big key to memorizing lyrics is to immerse yourself in the song. By immersion, I mean listening to the song while you're walking, going to the gym, cooking. Spending so much time listening to the song, it's almost like you start to live and breathe it. And the more you use the contextualizing forms of analysis I've already suggested, the more your memory is going to benefit from the use of mnemonics. That said, let's start with rote repetition. I'll let you in on a little secret. I rarely use rote repetition. In fact, I only use it to run memory experiments. Otherwise, it's terrible, and I avoid it at all costs. Nothing could be less creative. However, I do want to talk about the approach just a bit so you know what to watch out for, especially when there are a myriad of suggestions online, most of them impractical compared to the nearly musical magic of a practice dedicated to memory techniques. Here are some common recommendations you'll find online to help you memorize lyrics by rote repetition. Repeating the lines again and again. Looking at index cards or flashcards repeatedly without using any kind of active recall or imagination. Or focusing on the first and last word of each line. This last piece of advice is kind of related to keyword selection, which we'll talk about in a moment, but I honestly don't know why you would do first word, last word. Some of those words wouldn't necessarily be useful in memorizing the entire phrase. And some people also recommend that you focus on the first and last lines of a stanza, but I also don't think that's very helpful. At least it hasn't been in my experience. Here's why I think it fails. Primacy and recency effect. Because you're placing so much emphasis on what are essentially key wordings of particular patterns in a display of words on the screen, then you're more likely to get tripped up. That said, it might be useful for you, so give it a try. Track your results in your memory journal. Let us know how it goes. There's more to say on the matter, and I've written a full article on the Magnetic Memory Method blog. I've shared it in our additional resources section beneath this video. Check it out if you like as we continue with the alternative. Regular viewers will probably know what's coming next when I talk about mnemonics. A memory palace is an excellent technique to help you learn how to memorize song lyrics. It's a very powerful way of laying out your text word by word in the order it appears and the order it needs to be recalled. Then you can quickly transfer that information into your long-term memory. And when you use mnemonics to memorize lyrics, you need a memory palace. Ideally, you'll already have a memory palace you're familiar with. But if you don't, and you want to learn more about how to create a memory palace, you can sign up for my free training at magneticmemorymethod.com. Link in the description below. To put these powerful instructions in a nutshell, using a memory palace to memorize song lyrics involves having enough space available within the memory palace, ideally more than you think you'll need. You want to keep in mind something called the planning fallacy. It basically says that we are too often optimistic about the time something will take, especially when we're beginners. I promise you can get very fast, but you've got to be prepared for a training period. And notice too that we're often blind to our progress, which means that you've got to be patient too. Now, in order to avoid copyright issues, I wrote an entire song to give you a detailed analysis of how I memorize the lyrics. It's called The Expert, and there's a spontaneous performance for you there too. Plus, I get into how to memorize chords and individual notes. It's pretty in-depth, so please do check it out if you want those details from the world of memory techniques. But for the lyrics, let me give you an example in a second with some context first. All I did was follow the same principles used to memorize every song or poem, and even the TEDx talk I gave based on my book, The Victorious Mind. And all you have to do is create striking imagery you'll remember and place it strategically in the memory palace. I suggest you let the song guide the theme of those images. For example, when I memorized the Lou Reed song, I just imagined him on a word-by-word basis going through a memory palace. The first line is, "The image of the poets in the breeze, Canadian geese are flying above the trees." So I imagine very specifically Lou Reed with someone I know named Imogen, who has been a guest on the Magnetic Memory Method podcast. I imagine Lou Reed giving her a book of poetry by a particular poet. Imogen then smears this book with brie. After that, we move to the next part of the memory palace and start with a fresh set of images. Now, of course, it's not just about the magnetic images. Reading up on the song built up context. I've learned who the poet Lou Reed is referring to happens to be, and that helps with understanding the song's use of emotion, something you can readily take advantage of when memorizing any song. Without researching for context, I wouldn't have known he was talking about Delmore Schwartz, or even connected the first name Delmore in the lyrics with the poet he's talking about in the song. So sure, you can memorize the words without the context, but when it comes to performing the words, these granular details make all the difference in the world. It's the difference between robotic recitation and art, don't you think? Once you're established with your images in the memory palace, all you do is revisit it and the images within on a line-by-line basis, and let them tell you what the target lyrics were. You'll soon end up with the song so ingrained in your memory that you'll be doing more than performing it. You'll be interpreting it, guided by emotions that have truly become your own. Now then, once you have your song lyrics memorized using this process, it's time to test your memory using active recall, which will help make the words and context get even deeper into your system. One of the best ways to determine how much progress you've made is to test yourself. Rather than just thinking, "Oh, I've got this," take the time to verify how it's going. You can test your memory by writing out the lyrics by hand from memory. Record yourself singing the lyrics. Sing along with the recording. Ideally, you'll step away from any notes or sheet music while you're testing. And don't worry about mistakes. Just write out what you think the lyrics are based on what you've memorized so far. You might end up with distortions where words appear in the wrong place. For example, "The mist is hanging gently on the lake" versus "A gentle mist is hanging on the lake." Anytime you make a mistake, make a note of it and strategize how to fix it. Singing along with the recording should happen after you're done writing down or recording yourself. Next, you'll troubleshoot your mistakes. Troubleshooting requires attention to every single step and revising your practice in every possible way. Ask yourself, is my memory palace well formed? Is my magnetic imagery sufficiently robust? Am I using all the magnetic modes? Am I doing recall rehearsal effectively? Am I using the big five? Am I writing or speaking it out? Am I listening to it? And finally, are you doing all of these things in a way that promotes drawing from your memory with creative elaboration? Again, if the concept of the memory palace is foreign to you, I have you covered. check out the links in the description below. Whether you're using word by word or isolating keywords, you want to fix the issues with mnemonics as you go into testing. Additionally, you will need to do dedicated practice to fix the places where you make mistakes. Zone in on what the mistake is and put it on a loop. Take one word at a time and then two. Then once those 2 words are comfortable, expand to 3, and so on. This will help you get better at the whole thing. This is the case no matter where in the phrase the mistake happens. It could be a mistake at the beginning, middle, or end of the sentence. Pick that one spot and then repeat it until you get it using your imagery. For example, let's say there are 3 problematic words in the middle of a 10-word sentence. You would first go in and get one word perfect. Nail the mnemonics and then take the word before or after it and loop it. Loop the words, then the phrases, until you're able to get the correct lyrics into your long-term memory. When it's time to perform, just let it go and dive in. You have to be there, in the moment. Breathe, relax, let it go. And to help you with relaxation, let me give you a video that will help you just let it go. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up, and then watch Focus Your Mind. 3 uncommon ways to increase concentration power.